Jean-Claude Van Damme is, of course, a massive action star who was around in the late 80s, peak 90s, and he is coming to Australia. I'll give you details about how you can go and see him in the next couple of weeks, but I had the chance to talk to him in Los Angeles a bit earlier today, where, among other things, he teaches me how to kick somebody and kill them on film. Enjoy.
And I came to Australia, I was like 33, 35 years ago for the first time. I was after a kickboxer, I believe. Yes, I've got Australia in my heart for years and years and years. Yeah.
Now, I love the story about how when you went to Hollywood, one of the ways that you made your first impression. Is it true, or is it internet made up, that you went to Stallone's house and essentially forced him to notice you in his driveway? Is that real?
The real story, I climbed his house. I climbed the wall of his house. I climbed the wall of his house with my friend, and we both were looking, and then I was sitting on his wall, like sitting on a horse, and I was looking for him if he was there. But that was years ago. I mean, in Belgium, people come to my house, hey, what's happening today? It's dangerous. They will shoot me today. So I look, and then, of course, the cops came in. They took me out, and they sent me out of there. They asked for my paper, my passport, all that stuff. And I said, I'm from Belgium. I'm a fan of Stallone. Please, what I did wrong. I said, what? What do you mean? You're not supposed to climb a wall. Oh, but we love him, you know, and all that stuff. So I was a kid, and that was it. Then I met Stallone years later at a Paramount studio for Rambo, the first Rambo. And that didn't work. And then years later, we do Expendables together, and he was my hero as a child, him and Bruce Lee.
Well, this is I love the Expendables movies. They're like 11, and then you find another 11 off the top. I love it. I love that they're ironic. Everyone knows what they're doing in it. The chance to be able to share screen time with an idol. You've ticked off so many goals in your life. What's that moment like to be able to share a camera with the man who you probably had a poster of?
Well, imagine this, you're like 19 years old, 18 years old, 19 years old, you're eating popcorn in the theater in Belgium, and you see Rocky, and you're dreaming to be in film, not to be. Rocky is too big for you, not to do Rocky, just to be in film. And years later, I'm facing Rocky, and I'm playing the bad guy against him. I mean, I want to play bad guy. He wanted me to be in the Expendable team, and I said, what about if I play the bad guy, right? So he likes that, and life is funny. I mean, Belgium, me and Rocky, and then years later, 30 years later, I'm with him as a lead, as one of the lead in Expendables. So it was I was very happy to be there. And then you have lots of testosterone on the set. So I was the guy. I don't want to take, you know, but I was the guy who was like, you know, I was talking to Bruce, to Arnold, because I met them in a separate time in my life. I met Arnold separately. I met Stallone separately, Bruce. So they knew me, and I was able to finally make them talk, to have a great, you know, because...
I want to go back to, again, the start of the career, or when things really started to hit. What is the craziest thing that you bought when you started to come into real fame and real money? Did you go and buy, I don't know, a golden boat? What did you do? What was the first thing you did when you had real Hollywood money?
Cool. First of all, for 5 years, it was not funny here for me. It was like difficult to survive, but I did it. Thank God. Thank God. So then I did Bloodsport, and I made $25,000. That was my first salary on a movie in 1986. It was huge for me, huge. I was driving limo for like 100 a night. So anyway, when I made that money, I invited my parents on the set, and they were like so proud to see me with camera and lighting. They didn't know nothing. They're from Belgium, like, you know. educated, but movie, nothing. And I bought them, was my dream for my mother and my father to buy a Cartier watch. So I bought a Cartier watch for my father, Solomon Gold, and one for my mama in Hong Kong. At the time, the price was low. They were not fake, they're real. So, and then I was having a second movie contract. I didn't really care about the money. I was in hotel, I was training, I was making movies. Even today, I dress like, you know, I'm not really a money guy, to be honest with you.
I'll get to another idea you've got about Australia, but one last question about movies. What's the best way you've ever killed somebody on film?
The best way to kill somebody on film?
Or your favourite, the one that you've had in a movie that you've really loved, that, you know, one kick, one heart rip. What have you loved?
Okay, one side kick in the throat. Bam! Right away, here. No, really, it's like a very side kick very fast to the throat, or I call that a screwdriver kick that nobody used, really, and I didn't see yet people using that kick in the UFC because they don't know how to do it because I invented. And it's a kick where you put your knee very high to your chest like this, and instead of kicking like they do in movies like this, this. I have a table here. Huh? I arms my legs, I go inside the guard, and then I rotate, I go inside like this. You know what I'm saying? Go bam, like that inside, like a jabs. So what they do in karate, they kick and they go like this. So you have to see it. But if you do a kick and you go straight at the camera and you lift your knee very high, you can go between his guard and go inside and do a rotation. When you touch him, you rotate your foot, and then you go down.
You've still got it, man. I love this. So I can't wait to see that the project you're talking about that is about you know, like The Wrestler, trying to sort of tell the inside story of martial arts and UFC and about all of the personalities involved. I can't wait to see that. Thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it. In Australia, we've been able to produce some filmmakers who make amazing action movies, but our film industry doesn't seem to hand out too many trophies or think that action movies or horror movies are particularly awards worthy. We're about to come up on the Oscars in a couple of weeks, but there'll be no stunts awarded, there'll be no comedies recognised, there'll be no action movies recognised, and the telecast keeps going down and down. Do you think it's about time that rather than just handing it to, you know, the biggest crying performance, let's start broadening what is awards worthy?
I think we should award film like action movies because action is international. Everybody understand. One day, I was with Mr. Putin, Mr. Vladimir Putin, and we talk about action movies. And I said, how come people in Russia, they like me more than Mr. X, who's like a huge star in America? And he said, it's because you're an action guy. You know, everybody understand, and you go like this at the dinner, this. But a joke in Russian or a joke in French or Italian, nobody will dig it. So international is action. That's why he's such a big star.
JCVD, what an absolute honour to be able to talk to you. If people want to see you in person, there's lots of ways to do it, from VIP packages to great experiences as well, at the Wesley Conference Centre in Sydney, Melbourne Convention Centre at South Wharf. All the tickets are up at ticketmaster.com.au. Jean-Claude Van Damme, thank you for joining us on Sky News.
Thank you so much.